Hello, Midnight TCG members. This is Midnight Fox coming to you this week with Eddie Phoenix,
Woot!
Jenzaki recording, even though he won't speak to us, and Nomad. uh, Tonight we're going to be discussing sea serpents. Figured was definitely a fitting week to go over sea serpents, seeing the release of Abyss Rising and the new structure deck. So, kind of a brief history of sea serpents. They're not exactly a huge amount of monsters that are sea serpents in the game. Uh, they're if you kind of compare them, you can compare them side by side at to fish. They're the bigger fish of the fish, just like dinosaurs or the bigger, beefier reptiles. But most of the big dogs were mainly in the early days, like Leviathan Dragon and others like that. But right now, Atlanteans are the most pure sea serpent archetype. So, I mean, they're starting to come more into the game, but I wouldn't say they're the most highly supported. Although some of the best cards have come out of the Sea Serpent archetype. So, as we do usually, we're going to start out with our staples. So, starting with the Fox, I'm going to start my top three staples, I think, with the release of the Atlanteans and all that. I really think that the chance for people to run Rabbit with Sea Serpents will see Sea Serpent Warrior of Darkness see some play. I mean, he's a vanilla, but he's an 1800 vanilla. And if nothing else, he's going to pop through for some good attacks or an easy Shark Drake, what have you, or any of the XC's monsters. So that's definitely with the release of the Atlanteans. I think he will become a staple. I'm not going to say he is right now, but I look for people to start trying to abuse Rabbit in water decks now with Abyss Rising and the new water structure deck hitting. So definitely, I see him as becoming a big dog. Next on my list, kind of going into the release of Abyss Rising in the structure deck, Kodaris. Just about every water structure deck that has released another version of Umi. So there are multiple ways you can run Umi, and the ability to destroy that card, or even, oh gosh, Maiden of the Aqua, if you special summon her and destroy two cards your opponent controls, Kadaris in the coming water time, which should make Eddie happy. Woo woo!
Damn it all to hell right now. That's all I can say.
Would be I would definitely say Kadaris. He's a level four. He has kind of a low attack, but definitely his effect offsets that low attack. And he's a level four, so he's easy Xyz material. Even if you're looking at things lower levels, going into Lord Sea Dragon Lord, Gashilnadon, and all that, he could be a good monster in there for a low level going into that dog. Last but not least, and unfortunately, well, you know what? I'm going to save that for favorites because he's banned. So I'm going to say probably Spine Gilman would be a good staple. He's a level 3, and as we know, level 3 Xyz monsters create some of the best combos in the game, such as Wind Up Zen Mains, Giga Brilliant, Leviair, so many other level 3s that are so powerful. Not only that, but also his effect to boost fish, sea serpents, and aqua types. So basically, all water monsters by 400 attacks. So once he hits the field, he's automatically at 1700. Of course, sitting in defense, he's at 0, but the boost that he brings to your field is unparalleled to most cards. I mean, yeah, you've got cards like Starboy and all that could boost water monsters, but nothing as effective as Spine Gilman because he has the ability to be able to stay on the field. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Eddie, and let's see what you think of your thoughts on staples in the the sea serpent type.
Okay, when it comes to staples for the Sea Serpent type, of course, I'm going to go with the most obvious one that a lot of players will run that is not only a staple in Sea Serpents, but it's going to be a staple in almost any deck anymore, and that's, of course, Deep Sea Diva.
True.
With her being able to pull another 3, especially on level 3 or lower Sea Serpent monster from your deck, it's a good, quick, synchro summon fodder kind of thing.
Well, it's not just that, but as I was speaking about Spine Gilman, right there. She's an easy summon into him.
Yeah. The next card I'm going to pick is one of my personal favorites from back in the day when I used it in my Dragon deck, and it's also a Seto Kaiba staple, being Kaiser Seahorse.
Kaiser Seahorse.
Yep, card being able to be treated as a tribute for the summon of a really high level light monster like Blue Eyes White Dragon. So, woo.
It also helps the fact that he has pretty decent attack.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not. I mean, in today's meta with TKROs, Doom Calibers, and all that, yes, he could be easily ran over, but they're going to have to put out things that can be bottomless. So, yeah, definitely. He's a good Sea Serpent.
Yeah. And another card that I can see this card being useful, that can be really useful when it comes down the line. Because there's so many, if you're not just building a pure Sea Serpent deck, you can make it to where the aqua monsters and the water monsters being able to be supported with it, is Mermail Abyss Magello.
How do you check him out? Tell me.
Other water monsters, especially on this card from your hand. He's a 2400, 1900 7-star. And when you do the special summon effect, you can add 1 Abyss spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. You can also tribute 1 other face-up attack position water monster, and then this card can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. So if you ditch him twice, I'm trying to think of a good Abyss spell and trap card you could pull. Let me just pull it up on Duel Network real quick. Something maybe if you're running rituals, maybe like Contract with the Abyss, because all it says is Abyss spell or trap card. It doesn't specify.
I remember reading up on that. It can be used with Contract with the Abyss.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, definitely. Hey, that's a great great one to run into, especially if you like dark decks.
Being able to run it with like shit with Relinquished, if you so choose to run Relinquished. Plus being able to drop the rank 7 Mermail Abyss Gaios, being able to drop 2 of those to XYZ into that. because level 5 or higher monsters can attack when he's on the field, and a lot of people like, even though that the newer game now is more geared toward the level 3 and lower exceeds, him being a 2800 beat stick is pretty BA. And plus, you can detach one XYZ material from this card and negate the effects of all face-up of your opponent's monsters they currently control that have less attack than the card than him until the end of turn. So if they've got crazy things like oh, somebody help me with the XYZs here. I'm not a big XYZ fan.
Oh, let's see. Number 20, Giga Brilliant, Utopia, Shockmaster. Definitely one of the ones hitting big in a lot of decks is Shockmaster. Gachi Gachi Gantetsu. Leviair. Wind Up Zenmaines. Carrier Zen Mighty. Bahamut Shark. There's tons and tons and tons of Xyz monsters that I could go into, and one I'm really looking forward to that hasn't hit us yet, One-Eyed Skill Gainer. But that's for another podcast.
If I had to throw in other ones, it would be, of course, like the Dragon Dwelling in the Deep or whatever, but
So we'll pass it on to Nomad. What do you think of Staple Sea Serpents?
I know it's not actually a sea serpent, but I always want to look to salvage. Because you can grab 2 small water monsters out of your graveyard back to your hand, and a lot of sea serpents in themselves are water monsters. So, I mean, you guys have already covered the obvious, in the Deep Sea Diva and Spine Gilman and I guess Reese, the Ice Mistress.
I haven't got to her yet. She's in my faves.
Well, I like her too because it's kind of like a Marshmallow, but she's also a tuner.
Exactly.
And she's level 3 though, right? Or level 2?
She's level 2.
Okay.
And she can't be destroyed by monsters with a level 4 or higher. Which means Xyz monster can take her out, but your opponent's not going to take her out with a regular monster that's level 4 or higher.
It's kind of a cool option. I mean, if you're running Diva, you're probably running 2 or 3 of those, and you might run a copy of Reese or Gilman along with it, and those are kind of really, I guess, among the well-known ones.
Before Xyz, she was one of my go-to ladies whenever I built a water deck, was Reese the Ice Mistress.
Oh yeah, totally. I always kind of had her in my back pocket along with it, but I think as we move forward, a card that a lot of people are going to look to is Slushy. It's
Slushy.
It's it looks like a Ditto, and it's in the new set. It's like a level 2 Aqua, I think 100 attack or 0 attack, and what you do is when you summon it, I think when you normal summon it, you can send another copy from your deck to the graveyard, and then if you have 3 of them that are either removed from play or in your graveyard, you can banish one of them from your graveyard, and you can special summon a level 5 or higher it's a sea serpent from the graveyard. So pretty much you play it as deck thinning, and then when you have 3 of them, you can activate the one in your graveyard, remove that from play, and special summon a big monster from the graveyard. I don't know how successful it's going to be all across our meta, but it's definitely one of the interesting cards I ran across.
Well, I know that it's been a quite talked about card, so I look for it to make some kind of impact. Apparently someone has found some kind of way to abuse it already.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. I just read it and I'm like, this is kind of cool. And
I haven't quite read up completely on it, but I've seen it on almost every forum and through Yu-Gi-Oh! Discussions in other places, and Slushy's definitely one of the more talked about cards that's been released lately, so yeah.
It's really cool though, and if you look at the artwork, it's funny because it's like a Ditto just built like a Slushy all over itself. And it's I don't know how to describe it. And even the artwork too, like it's very reminiscent of the older Pokemon cards. It had a very
It's shiny.
it is shiny. Is it a secret? What what rarity is it?
Hmm.
Does anyone know?
Let me
I
tell you. Slushy.
cause I heard it was a secret, but I don't
Slushy is a. Let's see.
I don't.
Looks like a regular rare.
Oh really? That's cool. It'll be easy to get through them then.
Yes, that's what it looks like.
That'll be hella cool.
So is that your take on it then?
Um, I think it's neat. I wasn't aware of how much a discussion has been around it. Like I say, I haven't really been following this as much, but you know, outside of the Deep Sea Diva and the Spine Guildman is, I guess a combo or a unit, and then I'd probably go with like Salvage.
I'm looking at him and Slushy kind of looks like he got drunk off the slushy.
Well, it also looks like it's ink too. It's uh, like he went over to Bikini Bottom and got like one of their jellyfish slushies.
Oh gosh! Now
And
are we
then,
gonna reference SpongeBob now?
hey, well,
Oh,
Bikini Bottom, buddy, come on.
I have to watch enough SpongeBob at home with all these fox babies.
who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Slushy
Hey,
blob pants.
Slushy Bob pants.
Blob pants.
Well, he's not wearing. Oh yeah, Blob pants. He's not wearing pants though.
All right.
He's not wearing pants.
Slushy no pants.
All right. So with staples, we'll move on to favorites. So, and I know you guys probably cover some of the same ones because, as we said, sea serpents aren't huge in the game right now, except with the Atlanteans released. So feel free to go over, and you guys might have takes on the cards that I don't go over, but definitely a top fave. And he sits on the ban list because he was just so awesome. Is Brionomic, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. He was the level 6 go-to synchro monster, the ability to pop a card out of your hand and bounce something off the field, made Brionic a game changer, which is where he found his way onto the ban list. But definitely, I'd say that's among my top faves. And I'm not getting rid of mine, I'm holding on to it just in case he does decide to make a comeback. Uh, and I always seem to do 4 a week. So, but second, one of my favorite go-to guys when I was experimenting with the ice barriers and water decks before Abyss Rising and all that was Sea Lord Gashilnadon. He's easy to summon, especially if you're running a Deep Sea Diva and Spine Gilman in your deck. Right there, summon the Diva, special summon the Gilman, pop him off. You've got Sea Dragon Lord Gashilnadron. He's a 2300 attack monster at level 5. If you've got field spells to boost him, he's even bigger. Plus, whenever a face-up level 3 or lower monster on the field is sent to the graveyard, his attack becomes 3000 till the end phase of that turn. So he can turn into quite the beater if you have the deck to make it happen. Eddie kind of went over her before, and she's definitely one of my favorites. Deep Sea Diva. She fits into so many decks. I mean, you could go purely water-based. You could go where I went for the longest time with Deep Sea Diva with Absolute Zero, running that and Spine Gilman into an Absolute Zero deck before we got a Scurio and Shining and all those. Absolute Zero was what really catapulted Heroes to another level other than playing Prisma and Glad Beast. So there's your shout out to Heroes All City King if you still happen to listen. But definitely Deep Sea Divas, one of my favorites. And to round mine out, you mentioned her, Reese the Ice Mistress. not as useful now with the rulings on Xyz being ranks instead of levels, but the ability, she's a tuner, and the ability to not be destroyed by a battle with a level 4 or higher monster used to make her a utility. If it hadn't have been for Konami saying, well, Xyz monsters are not levels, they're ranks, so shove it, I think she would. But that kind of rounds out mine, and that was actually pretty quick for the Fox tonight. So I'll pass it on to Eddie. What are your favorite sea serpents?
I would have to go with Leviathan Dragon Daedalus, being able to send one face-up Umi to destroy all the other cards on the field. I like being able to combo him with a Legendary Ocean, because I can drop him for 1 tribute instead of 2. And then being able to wipe my opponent's side of the field to then proceed to drop another Legendary Ocean. And just be like, okay, thunk, and then go to town. Of course, gonna have to go with...
Like I mentioned, you can use Maiden of the Aqua too and still keep your Umi on the field.
Yeah, Maiden of the Aqua if you wanted to. Gonna have to go with Deep Sea Diva, of course, because she's a Deep Sea Diva.
Just because.
Mm-hmm.
And considering October just passed because she's got tatas.
Okay, that works too. I ain't gonna complain. The third one I'm gonna have to go with... Just because I can, and I don't know if anybody knows about him or not, and I'm just gonna throw him out there. I'll go with Spearfist Soldier. This card gains 100 attack for each of your banished fish, sea serpent, and aqua type monsters. I can build a deck around him that would make him broken, or at least overly powered.
That's where you go back to where I was talking about before the podcast, Mr. Air Orca.
Mm-hmm.
Banfish. All right, well, I guess that takes it on to Mr. Nomad. What about your favorites?
Well, my favorite sea serpent would have to be Serpent Knight Dragon.
Just because it's a secret and he's an original, right?
Yeah, and because it's not actually a sea serpent.
Yeah.
But seriously though, again, other than the obvious ones, I feel I kind of have to mention Armed Sea Hunter as one of my favorites here. It came out a few sets ago.
Too true.
It's an 1800 attack. It's a Sea Serpent effect, level 4. It's water, and what happens here is it's kind of like Hades, in that after damage calculation, if it battled an effect monster, it negates that effect monster's effect. And the catch, though, is that you have to control another face-up water monster in order to activate and resolve the effect. And additionally, it kind of has that Samurai My Buddy is a Shield idea, of where if this card would be destroyed either by an effect or by battle or whatever, you can destroy a face-up level 3 or lower water instead. So I always thought it was kind of neat, and I may try it again with our new support, but we'll see. And the artwork too. I love the artwork on this card. It's like, I don't know, it's got a lot of detail. It's like a merman, basically. So other than that, it's kind of a funny card that we were talking about a little while ago. The Aimaruka, or whatever it's called. And it looks like a fish with Down syndrome. Which I guess I know better than to laugh about, but I think it's funny. And I hope that even for that reason alone, it gets run at some point. I honestly have no idea what it does, but it's cute, and I figure it's better than saying I like Deep Sea Diva 100 times and then just kind of
You know one we
stealing all
all
that.
forgot about that's actually pretty decent if you're going Sea Serpents, and especially if you couple it with Deep Sea Diva and Spine Gilman, is Mermaid Archer.
Right, I forgot about that one.
Then you could take one of those guys and you can equip it to her, and she's 2,000. And then if she's going to be destroyed, well, say goodbye to the equipment card. And with the way the water field spells move your levels down, you can even get out level 4s and attach them to her. Because once they hit the field, then they're a level 3.
It's gotta be. It has to be from your side of the field, though. So it's kind of. Like, it's not horrible, but like you have to expel your own resource. So I never really, I guess, swooned to it.
She was more of, again, back to like Reese the Ice Mistress. She was back before Xyz Monsters hit. She was another go-to of mine. But
Because you can grab your diva, right? Like you summon this and then grab your diva, and then you have a stronger monster that has some protection out of it.
they. I was fine with synchros, and they just have to keep hitting us with all of these new types of monsters. They just had to move to the next step, evolution, Xyz monsters, and change up the rulings.
Yeah, I know.
Nami. Troll.
Well, see, I don't know if it's really a troll because I mean, if it's a new type of monster, right? If it doesn't have a level, then it obviously it's going to be immune to stuff like gravity bind, right?
Yep.
You know, I mean, if I have a road and it says that like trucks taller than like whatever can't enter. If I don't have a truck, then it doesn't apply to me, right? I can go there with my little plane, and I'm cool. I could do it.
So, do you got any other favorites?
I guess Leviathan Dragon. I always like that whole set. I actually tried pretty hard to make a competitive deck one time with the Leviathan Dragon and all that, but it didn't work out, so I gave up.
Well, I guess to kind of end things out for the night, then just want to say thank you to all the participants in the Duel for a Cure and the raffle against cancer. If you've won something and you haven't sent your address to me, get it sent so we can get your prizes sent out to you. Wasn't greatly huge, but I think for our community and being our first year, it was a pretty successful drive, and wouldn't have been possible without all the people that participated. And it will be a mainstay at Midnight TCG. Every October, we're going to switch up to pink. So you'll see that pink and black skin come back. And we will have a Duel for a Cure drive every year. And every year it's probably going to get better because now we've got the planning. Instead of it just being a couple months, we've got a year to plan ahead. So definitely keep your eye out for that. If you still want to donate and you want to donate to our cause, you can still do so. The only thing that's changed is that the image on the bottom has changed. That Duel for a Cure image will come back next October when we switch back to the Duel for a Cure drive. But for now, we put up a Monster Reborn. I encourage people, go on to Twitter and help us keep this alive. Hashtag Duel Against Cancer. Let's keep it going all year long so that when it hits next year, we're trending. So, other than that, like I said, congratulations to all the winners who won things in the raffle, who won things in the Duel for a Cure. KyoU actually won the tournament. IN came in second place. Next month, we'll be having our theme deck of the month contest, so watch out for that. Watch for what prize is going to be released, and Make sure you're watching on Thursdays. We did switch up our Flash tournament. It's on Thursdays now because that seemed to work better for everyone. And there is a minimum and a maximum now. If we don't have at least 4 players, there's no Flash tournament that week. If you're number 9, you're not in. So definitely keep an eye out. I usually put up an announcement a decent time ahead of schedule. Still have our race to 8,000. We're actually growing quicker and quicker now. So definitely bring your friends along. You got the chance to win an Exodia mat for free. All you got to do is tell your friends about the site and make sure they put you as the referrer, referring them to the site. Got the chance to win an Exodia mat for free. I don't mind giving away free prizes. We just want to keep growing and keep having the great community we do. And let's see. What was the last thing I wanted to cover? It sucks when I actually have to think.
Oh no, I think. Ow, ow, ow.
What?
Oh, I will say that for those who were, that was the last thing I was going to cover. This is your hint. For those who were preparing for Sea Serpents to be Thursday's Flash tournament theme, think again. The Fox has a really evil twist in his mind, and it's going to be completely different this week. So be prepared for an interesting tournament, and make sure you're looking through the Yu-Gi-Oh section. That's the only hint I'm going to give you, because your knowledge of what's in that section is going to depend on how well you do or do not do.
Oh crap! Wait a minute. That means.
So it's gonna be Yu-Gi-Oh?
Oh, it's going to be Yu-Gi-Oh, but I've got probably one of the most evil twists I've thrown into a Flash tournament yet.
Don't think I
It's
can
going
use the
to-
Atlanteans, can I?
Anything that's TCG or OCG legal is open game.
Okay, so the Atlanteans are out because I can see prices for them on Dual Network.
We still need 3 more members for Team Midnight TCG. We're looking to start our first war with Yu-Gi-Oh! ETC forums. So if you haven't signed up, you're interested in joining the team, definitely join up, be a part of the team, help us win this first war we're going to be starting out with. And I think there was one other thing I wanted to cover, and the Fox is drawing a blank. This is what happens with old age.
I mean, I could rant about stuff if you guys want. I got a lot of stuff to rant about.
To be perfectly honest, I don't think it just starts with old age. I even think it starts with young age because hell, I can't remember crap half the time anyway. So, wee.
Well, I mean, I had something lined up about my sneak peek, but now I'm just like, yeah. Oh yeah. Have any of you seen those Yu-Gi-Oh statues anywhere, like in person?
No.
Like the ones that I sent you last week or a week before, where there's like a dark magician and like a dark magician girl, and like one of them comes with like a pot of greed keychain. Because like I really want to get one of those, but I kind of want to see them in person first. Because I think it was like $70 on the one site that I found, and I want it, but I'm not sure if I want it bad enough
Well,
to spend that much money on a statue of a dark magician.
that's the last thing the Fox was going to go over. Next
Statues?
No, not statues. Next week we're
Oh.
going to go off of for 1 week, we're going to go off the archetype. And we're going to yet again, and this is not your open invitation to try to embarrass me again, Nomad. We're going to have a Q&A. I want to get some feedback from the people who listen to this. I want to know what you guys want to know about. What do you want to know about our games? What do you want to know about us? What do you want to know about the site? What have you? Jinzaki will post up a
thread, a questionnaire,
a question
poll
thread for your questions, and we'll take questions in there. And also that Thursday, I think we'll do what we did last week when we did psychics, and I'll open up the Q&A in the chat box. So if you happen to be on and you hear it and you have a question that just pops in your mind, pop it in the chat box and we'll give a shout out to you, and we'll answer your questions in the chat box too. So next week, viewer's choice, get your questions ready and be nice, Nomad.
What? Be nice.
Where do fox babies come from?
It's become like a meme by now. You thank me for that.
Yeah, I should thank you for that. The fox babies were going rampant on the raffle against cancer for us today. So everybody got an introduction to most of the fox babies. So with that, this is Midnight Fox, Eddie Phoenix,
Meow.
Nomad,
Yep.
and Jinzaki, wherever he went to.
Oh, he's still here. He's just he's doing his thing.
Signing off for the Competitive Edge podcast for this week.
Happy trails, yo.